next guy I want to talk about is Stephen Greer. Are you familiar with him?
No.
So, everyone got their own version of being bored in quarantine. Mine was, fuck it, let's look up UFOs. And I think for like a month or two solid, anything I could, I fell down the rabbit hole of let me look at anything with aliens and UFOs. And it wasn't too hard to run into Stephen Greer. If you're not familiar with him, go look him up. And he's in that Bob Lazar camp of some people like discredit, some people believe. But he ran a thing called the Disclosure Project, which was working with the government to try to disclose a lot of what they have, the information they have about extraterrestrials and alleged recovered craft and this, that, and the other. Because he's like, hey, people have a right to know. And I can't remember how he got started or what type of encounter he had that was like, no, like this shit's real. We need to let people know. Like he's a doctor. Like he was a general surgeon and has completely shifted gears and is like, nope. My whole life is about proving extraterrestrial life. And so he's got this protocol thing for what he calls close encounters of the fifth kind, which is interesting. And let me just look up the list here because I thought this was interesting. There's all these different kinds of encounters. So close encounters of the first kind is just visual sightings. This is all on Wikipedia of an unidentified flying object less than 500 feet away. Close encounters of the second kind, event in which physical effect is alleged. So this can be interference in the functioning of a vehicle or an electronic device, animals reacting, paralysis or heat and discomfort, trace impressions in the ground, scorched or otherwise affected vegetation, so like crop circles, allegedly.
So it goes beyond a sighting, and there's some soft evidence.
Right. The third kind is with an animated entity as present, so it includes humanoids, robots, and humans who seem to be occupants or pilots of a UFO. Close encounters of the fourth kind is an event in which a human is abducted by a UFO or its occupants. If you ever see that movie, Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind?
No, but that's why this sounds so familiar.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was fucking wild, dude. Movie freaked me out. Because it goes back and forth between, it's got the chick from Resident Evil as one of the main characters in it. And it shows, it like dramatized what happened, but then it keeps cutting back to like actual footage they had of shit when they were researching back in the day. Creepy as shit. Or at least it made it look like it was actual footage. I don't know if it was. I know they can fake that shit. But anyways, the fourth kind is basically when there's abduction. Close encounters of a fifth kind is direct communication between aliens and humans. This is what Stephen Greer kind of named as his experience through like conscious, voluntary, and proactive human-initiated cooperative communication with extraterrestrial intelligence. So if you're interested and you want to try to go talk to aliens, go look up Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. Stephen Greer's got this like whole protocol of like how you interact with them, and it's all through consciousness.
Okay, pause right there.
Yeah, there's two more after that.
Okay, keep going.
Okay, so the sixth kind is death of a human or animal associated with a UFO sighting. It said it could be considered a more severe example of a second kind encounter. Or the seventh kind is creation of a human-alien hybrid, either by sexual reproduction or artificial scientific methods.
Interesting. Okay, so if we just walk that back, you said that Stephen Greer has experienced, or he claims to have experienced, an encounter of a fifth kind.
Yep. And he has a protocol to have anyone do it. And so I remember my buddy, I don't know if he wants me to mention him or not on air, so I won't mention him by name.
All right, Richard.
Yeah, we'll call him Richard, and he's probably laughing right now because he probably knows who he is if he's listening. But he was telling me, he's like, yeah, I was trying this out. And so I couldn't sleep one night. It's like 2 a.m. So I got up and I sat down at the foot of my bed, and I was going through these protocols. And I don't know, he's just trying it out. And then he hears this like really loud snap or pop like right next to his head, and his wife wakes up because she's still sleeping in the bed.
What?
And she's like, what are you doing? What was that? And he's like, nothing, coming back to bed. So he's like, okay, so apparently this shit works and I shouldn't fuck with it.
But it wasn't his snap, right?
No, like he was just sitting there and like something physically happened. Again, all anecdotal, but it was, you know, maybe March or so when like we all got stuck at home and we had nothing better to do. And I was too nervous at the time to try to just like, because I believe all this shit's real. And I'm like, well, I don't want to just go, hello, universe, come hang out with Tony. Because I don't know if you have good intentions or not. Fuck that noise.
Yeah. Like, how do I know it's not going to be the sixth kind?
Exactly. Like, ugh.
So, from the outsider's perspective, not having read much about this, it immediately makes me think of like the Bloody Mary shit that we used to do as kids, where you go into a bathroom, you turn the lights off, and you spin around 3 times and say, Bloody Mary, come and get me a Bloody Mary, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you look in the mirror and you're supposed to see, you know, Bloody Mary. She shows up and...
Right.
And so that's the way that I think about this without having looked into it. So like I'm skeptical about having like snaps and sounds like that. It sounds very paranormal.
Sure.
But I'm fucking curious.
And so what if, this is taking us in a different tangent, what if a lot of this paranormal stuff that we experience is extraterrestrial beings?
Oh, well, fuck shit.
And we go into that higher dimensionality that they're in and out of, and we just classify it as something else.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Potentially logical, but how do you prove it? You know, like, I mean, we've talked about this before.
Stick with us for another couple hundred years.
Right? We'll get it. But we've talked about this before. I lean more to the, I guess that kind of makes sense. And maybe I want that to make sense, so let's explore it. And you keep me grounded and are like, all right, how do we fucking prove this, Tony?